committee. We're waiting on the bill sponsor to make it down. We're going to give her one more minute and see if she intends to present the bill today. If not, then we'll go on with the other business. But thanks for your patience. Since we're ready for you to begin, we'll let you go ahead and present the bill, and then we'll stop at the appropriate time to take roll when we get a quorum established.
Sounds great. Senator, Chairman, thank you. Committee members, thank you for the opportunity to present this bill. Senate Bill 59 essentially changes it's an addition one sentence change that will put retirement benefits or survivor benefits in the same category as retirement benefits for survivors, allowing them basically to the current law authorizes an income tax deduction for retirement benefits received by a taxpayer as a result of service in the armed forces. This act also allows for deduction of any survivor benefits derived from such service. So it's just putting them in the same category with retirement benefits, so that their survivors receive those benefits. Currently, that's not the case, and so this is just a one-sentence tweak that will allow that for our military servicemen and women.
So essentially, it's going to allow the survivors' benefits not to be taxed.
Correct.
Have a deduction.
Yes.
Okay, good. Are there questions from the committee? No questions. That seems to be pretty straightforward.
Yeah, one little sentence on page 7. Yeah.
I'm glad we waited for you, because now we don't have to interrupt the Veterans Commission's presentation. So
Awesome.
thank you for your presence.
Yeah,
And,
thank you.
We'll touch base if there are any concerns later.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Since we do have a bill presented, I was going to go at the Veterans Commission. Are there any witnesses who would like to testify in support of Senate Bill 59?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing? Good. Well, when I saw this bill come up and I was noticed on it, this would have helped my grandmother with the retirement benefits that she got from my grandfather. So that's, from the, his first service. This would help my grandfather and our grandmother, and I really think that this needs to go forward. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Questions for the witness?
Oh,
Seeing
yeah.
none?
I am Deanna Rhodes Whitmer, by the way.
Thank you, and it looks like you have a witness form completed.
I do have a
Thank
witness
you.
form.
Any other witness to testify in support of Senate Bill 59? Okay. You want to supply a witness form? Done that? Okay. Any others in support of Senate Bill 59? Coming up, we've got two sides here. We could kind of stack you. You just want to submit a form? Okay. Please do that before you leave. And we have another witness heading this way.
Chair, members of the committee, Henry Otalamak with the Missouri National Veterans Memorial to go on record as in support of Senator Carter's bill. I think the senator and the person before me said it best. I think at times we forget, we remember the veterans, but we forget their family members. And I think this is an important way, and we thank the senator for bringing it forward to remember and allow them to benefit off the services that others have provided. So, by the way, my client would be very much annoyed if I didn't say it, but thank you all for your service before and for your current service. So,
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you. We have a quorum now, so we're going to take a quick break in the middle of the witness testimony to call roll. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators Moon, here. Schnelting, Bratton, here. Nicola, here. Roberts, here. Weber. Here. All right, a quorum is established.
And we have a quorum. Any other witnesses in favor of Senate Bill 59? Please come forward. Going once, going twice. Any in opposition? Seeing none. Any in for informational purposes? Thank you, Senator Bratton. Seeing none. You're welcome. All right, thank you. While we're in the midst of between a bill and hearing the veterans from the Veterans Commission, I just want to take time to make a statement to the committee. Sent a letter. Hopefully you received it and were able to read that. I was a bit surprised when I was appointed to be chair of this committee. I did not serve in the military, but I am grateful for men like you who did. And so we have a couple Marines, got under the banner of the Department of the Navy, and we also have a couple of Army. And Air Force. That's right. I'm sorry. Yes. So I'm grateful to you. I hope that in my role here I can earn your trust and support here. And I'm going to lean on you quite a bit. I've already leaned on Representative Griffith. He's back here in the audience. And so I'm grateful to you all for helping me get up to speed. And so I look forward to working with you and serving you in this capacity. Now, we have some testimony and a presentation by the Veterans Commission, so please come on up and tell us what you have for us. And thank you for the information here that you provided to us.
Good day, Chairman, committee members, veterans, and veteran advocates. I'm Paul Kirchhoff, and I'm the Executive Director of your Missouri Veterans Commission. With me is Teresa Sherlock. She's our Budget Director. I also brought with me Deputy Director Ryan Richmond, Director of Operations Melissa Skinner, and we also have Troy Williams, who is the president of the Veterans Service Organization, MABO, Missouri Association of Veterans Organizations. If you know anything about or don't know anything about the Missouri Veterans Commission, the program for veterans started as far back as 1896 with the beginning of the St. James Home and Cemetery, and we've gone all the way to where we are today with the most recent activity being the beginning of our attempts to address the plague that is veteran suicide. So we do have a new leg to our stool that is working to address that issue. We are a state agency, not the VA. There's a lot of misconception that we are the VA. We do work closely with the VA, and we do receive some of our funding from the VA, but we are not the VA. We are state agency with state employees. All of us are state employees. And administratively, we're under the Department of Public Safety. We'll see if Director James is since you all were in on that recently. The commission is made up of 2 members of the Senate, 2 members of the House, with one current vacancy with Representative Sauls is no longer part of the commission. And then we have 5 nominated by the governor, and we do have a vacancy there with a recent illness, and so one of our commissioners had to drop out last quarter. Missouri has around 400,000 veterans, and this does not include current members such as the Missouri National Guard, active duty at Whiteman, Fort Leonard Wood, Rosecrans. Those are not included in those numbers. These are just pure veterans as opposed to service members. And these numbers don't include veterans' family members that we serve as well with items such as dependent indemnity care. So it's important that we care for the veterans, but it's important as those of you who are veterans knowing that caring for your family is just as important as caring for the veteran. Yes, sir.
If I could ask a question here on the page where you've got the VSOs, 1 VSO for every 3,000 plus veterans. Is that the right ratio, or are you looking for more VSOs to be involved?
So the number is actually closer to 1 in 4,000 veterans, because while there are veteran service officers throughout the state, and I'm not just talking about veteran service officers within the commission. Troy Williams is a veteran service officer for the VFW. There are also those that are included in those numbers. But with that, a lot of them don't do claims, or there are several that don't do claims. So the ratio is probably closer to 1 for every 4,000 veterans. And there's two issues with that. One is that our veteran service officers, in my opinion, are underpaid. And I can back that up with the statistics that our veteran service officer turnover rate in 2020 was, or since 2020, has been 21%. In 2024 alone, it was 40.82%. And the reason being is that that's a very stressful job. One, as I said, veterans associate us with the veterans, the VA. And that's why I keep saying we are not the VA. We assist veterans with getting their benefits from the VA. But there's long-standing, since the 1930s, it's been very difficult to apply for the benefits that veterans have earned through their service. That's just the way it is. And our veteran service officers try to assist them, but when it can be very frustrating, and sometimes those are taken out on our VSOs. Troy would say the same for the VFW, American Legion, all of those that assist the veterans. And
in
yes,
addition
sir.
to that, I'm aware of some other organizations, I'm not sure if that's the best way to put them, but who may be acting as VSOs who essentially charge exorbitant fees for that. And so it sounds like it's a needful area there to increase the number of the true VSOs who are helping, and let's have some conversations about what we can do to compensate more adequately so that we can beat those numbers up.
And I'm not going to say that all of those other groups are not, they don't do a good job, but there are some that you'll hear the term claim shark. And those claim sharks, they're not trained, they haven't received the proper certification, and they charge exorbitant amounts, what I feel are exorbitant amounts. We, along with the VFW, American Legion, all of those, do not charge veterans for our services. It is a charge. It is free of charge to the veteran, as it should be, because we're helping veterans receive something they already earned. Why should they have to pay twice for it? So there are groups out there that are unscrupulous, that do charge veterans an exorbitant amount. Not all of them do so, but at the very least, we need to let veterans know that there is an option that they can receive their assistance for free. That we're out there to help them, and we do the exact same thing, if not better. Because if you've ever applied for your benefits, you know that experience matters, and you can have training, you can be a veteran. But just because you're a veteran doesn't mean you know how to apply for those benefits. You don't know what the benefits are. And so that experience matters. And that's why it's important that turnover rate that I talked about, that 40% in the last year, is important, because we're losing that experience because it's a stressful job, it's a difficult job, and unfortunately, those veteran service officers can go to other places and find a job with less stress and more pay.
And one last question on that point. If someone wanted to become a VSO, what is the time from their start to they're up and running and actually be able to provide the services?
Every VSO is a little different. Some catch on a little quicker than others. So we'll start them early in the process. So 3 months to 6 months, they can start working with veterans. But you don't know, you don't really know until you've been in the job for a year. 3 years is optimal.
Before we go on,
and that's a testament to how difficult this job is, sir.
Before we move on, are there other questions from the members? Okay, thank you. Proceed.
Yes, sir. Let's see where we're at. Okay, we also have 7 veterans homes throughout the state: Cameron, Cape Girardeau, Mexico, Mount Vernon, St. James, St. Louis, and Warrensburg. And I invite every one of you to visit one of our homes. They're not the normal retirement home. They're exceptional. Senator Moon, I appreciate you going to Mount Vernon once again, and that team is looking forward to showing off how great a job they do.
I've been there on multiple occasions, and they are a cut above. They're some of the nicest. We've got skilled care, nursing facilities. Anybody would, I think, want to be in one of those if they possibly could. While you're on that note, I know Mount Vernon has had a wing shut down, and they're working to get that one back open. Are you familiar with the capacities or the space available for veterans?
Yeah, so there is a waiting list in all of our homes. Some of it is shorter than others. For instance, there is no waiting list there's a minimal waiting list in St. James. There's a longer waiting list in Warrensburg. And part of that is you talked about the closure of certain wings, and some of that is staffing. Staffing has been a difficult process for us. And just like it has with anybody who runs a business or has an organization that you're trying to get employees, and that drives how many veterans we can bring in. Our team has done an exceptional job. We've hired recruiters in each one of our facilities to do just that, recruit staff, because we want to make sure, or we have a requirement that we have to have a staff to veteran ratio that's higher than anything you're going to see in any private facility. And that's important, because that means that we're giving that care to those veterans. Another factor is that we're not going to take in 10 veterans in a day. We have to bring them in a little slowly, just because we have to learn those veterans' habits. We have to learn those veterans' needs. So 2, maybe 3 a week is the most that we can bring in. Of course, and then unfortunately we are a long-term care facility, so we do lose veterans. They're elderly citizens, so it does happen. But we are working hard to reopen those closed wings, and because that means we can care for more veterans. I think I'll get into that later. As far as our cemetery programs, we have 5 cemeteries: Bloomfield, Fort Leonard Wood, Higginsville, Jacksonville, and Springfield. And over the past year to 2 years, we've benefited by the legislature, particularly Senator Roberts, helping us upgrade our cemetery equipment. And if you've ever worked on a excavator backhoe, you know that over time, those hydraulics go bad, and it was getting to the point where I didn't want to even stand next to that bucket swings. Thanks to everyone in here's efforts, we've been able to upgrade that equipment. That equipment was there since the time we opened the cemeteries 25 years ago. So thanks to the legislature for helping us upgrade that equipment. Excuse me. The Veteran Service Officer Program, we kind of talked about that a little bit. The return on investment for our VSOs is about $129. So every dollar that you invest, we bring back into the state, not into the commission, but into the state, $129 in federal benefits to the state, and that includes the grant program that we have for the veteran service organizations as well. Veteran suicide prevention, that final leg that we've got in our stool, it's a one-person team. We're working closely with Department of Mental Health. John Sabala has always done a great job with that, but we're working closely with John Sabala to attack that. We'll have the report to the legislature on July 1st. Hopefully get it to the commissioners at the commission meeting before that as a precursor. For our accomplishments, I talked about how great our homes are. This past year was the first year that all 7 were part of Best in Class. So while 6 of them had been on a regular basis, St. Louis has done just a phenomenal job of stepping up their game, and they too are part of the Best in Class under the Pinnacle survey. We've improved our vacancy rate. We've reduced that vacancy rate of employees by 35% over the last year through hard work and dedication from the teams. I'm also often asked about medical cannabis funding, and so I want to talk about that real quick. The impression is that MVC is cash rich because of there's $167 million in tax revenues coming into to the state of Missouri. But of every dollar that comes in taxes, MVC receives 5 cents of that. And so that $9 million went to maintaining our existing program operations. There were no new programs that were started as a result of cannabis funding. It's just going to maintaining our operations, keeping the homes open, keeping the cemeteries running, and as well as our headquarters and VSP. With the recreational cannabis, medical cannabis, we're seeing a decrease in that. There is that drop in revenue was not unexpected. So while we appreciate while we were appropriated $13 million, we received $5 million, I believe is next year's will be $5 million in projections. So that's dropped from that 13 to approximately $5 million in projections. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Teresa Sherlock, our budget director, to provide greater detail on MVC's budget.
Good afternoon, Teresa Sherlock, Budget and Finance Director. I'd like to start with some fiscal year 25 budget accomplishments, and our director went through some of these numbers and some of the impacts, so I won't touch too long on them, but the first bullets are a 3.2% cost of living salary adjustment and a 1 to 10% longevity salary increase. So those were absolutely beneficial to our veterans' homes because they're 24/7 facilities. So to be able to not only recruit and retain those individuals, those employees, allows us to be able to increase, likewise, our census into the homes. Then further down, I'd like to highlight the $41 million solvency transfers. That was a collection of a little less than $19 million in general revenue, $9 million in adult use marijuana, and $13 million in medical marijuana. When I talk about solvency funds, that means cash to support the existing appropriations. So I'll go a little bit deeper into two of our major funds that support all of the operations that our director just went through. We have two major funds. Now, we operate with more than two, but the reason I call these two funds major is because they operate with over $100 million in appropriations each. So the first of those two funds is the Veterans Commission Capital Improvement Trust Fund. And there's a long list of items that fund is responsible for. And I'd like to go through them because as we go through the numbers, I think you'll start to understand why we're having some revenue issues here. The construction and maintenance of all of our veterans' homes and all of our veterans' cemeteries, so 12 facilities across the state, which require this fund for capital and maintenance. Fund transfers from this fund, Veterans Commission Capital Improvement Trust Fund, into the Homes Fund to maintain solvency. The operation of the Veterans Service Program, the headquarters office, and the cemeteries program, as well as utilities for the homes and the cemeteries, the Veterans Recognition Program, which is run by the Missouri National Guard, World War I Memorial Restoration, and matching grants for the Veterans Service Organizations, Veterans, VFW, and so on. So this fund has a very, very heavy responsibility in the entire operation of the Veterans Commission and all of its programs. So as we look at the graph, we're looking at 2017 to 2026. The line that you see, the red line, are our expenditures, where the bars on this graph are the revenues that come in to support those expenditures. Now, I mentioned that there are about $100 million in appropriations for this fund, but you can see that we're not spending nearly that $100 million. And the reason we're not is because we don't have enough fund balance to be able to support some of the capital improvement projects that have been appropriated. We also don't have the funding to support solvency transfer into the Homes Fund. So we have been we have reduced some of our spend out of this fund in order to accommodate the fact that the cash flow is not sufficient to those appropriations. So where you see a gap between the line and the graph, that is where we have to rely on our cash balance to be able to carry through. And unfortunately, the revenues from the gaming transfers have continued to decrease. They're doing everything they can to get us those transfers, but unfortunately they have decreased. And for an example, in fiscal year 17, our transfers were around 22 million, I believe, rough numbers. And in 2024, we received an all-time low transfer of $7.2 million into the fund. On the next page is our Veterans Homes Fund. This fund has one responsibility, and that is the operation of the 7 veterans' homes. So this is the largest of all of the programs. As you can imagine, running 7 long-term care facilities across the state, it does come at a significant cost. Back in 2017, you can see 3 different colors of funding that supported the fund. Those were VA grant reimbursements, room and care into the fund, so the veterans' out-of-pocket expenses, and then the remainder is from other revenue sources. Now you can see in fiscal year 2020, we started to get some new colors added into the graph. And those new colors are solvency transfers into the fund. And you can see more colors added through 2020 all the way through 2025. And what those are additional cash transfers into the fund to be able to support the appropriations. So the dedicated funds that we received from the Veterans Administration, for example, decreased significantly, specifically because of the pandemic. So as the census decreased in the home, likewise did the room and care revenues and the VA per diem, because we receive a per veteran per day reimbursement from those funds. So the census is very much drives the revenue, and the staffing very much drives our census. So with all of that said, the line again on this chart is the expenses, and the bars are the revenues into the fund. So where you see a gap, also we rely on the cash balance to support the operations of the fund. On fiscal year 26, you see a request or a yellow highlight, which is the solvency transfer request from GR that the department requested in order to maintain solvency in fiscal year 26.
All right. So if we go to the next page, initiatives, we talked about the veterans' mental health and suicide prevention. We are working with the Veteran Suicide Prevention Manager. 998 is a partnership with us to increase awareness of that, as well as increase the knowledge of the available resources. And there are resources out there. So we started a few years back the benefits portal, and on that it has things like resources for veteran suicide prevention. We also have things for veterans that are looking for jobs. We have so it's a one-stop shop for all things veterans, and it's not just for veterans. It's for veterans, service members, and their families as well. We try to improve that foxhole every day of making that portal better for veterans' use. We also have started a program of will clinics. We conduct these with volunteer attorneys providing veterans free legal documents such as wills, trusts, and those sort of things. So we've served about 2,088 veterans with a savings to the veterans of $3.6 million. And like everything else, it's free to the veterans. That's been the hardest thing to get over, is whenever we have a clinic, I don't believe it. If it's too good to be true, or sounds too good to be true, it probably is. This is not too good to be true. This is truly free to the veterans. I've done it myself, and they do a great job with that. On the next page, for initiatives with the Veterans Recognition Program, we're proud that we should be kicking off the medallion for for Afghanistan veterans. We do have the Iraq one already in place, but we're finalizing the medallion itself, as well as the certificates for the Afghan vets. Just as for awareness purposes only, you won't see that in there. I'd like for you to, at some point, go to the north side, to the Missouri Veterans Memorial on the north side of the Capitol here. It's a great memorial, but there's two things that are missing on there. Go to the Gulf War obelisk, and you'll see that there's no end date chiseled on there. It was 1991, so I'm not good at math, but that's over 30 years that we have left that memorial, that obelisk, without an end date for the Gulf War. And there's not an obelisk at all for Iraq and Afghanistan. I give that I understand that it had ended in 2021. Afghanistan did, but I want to bring awareness to that because that's something that we need to address. I don't want our Iraq, Afghanistan veterans to at some point feel like we kind of dropped the ball on Vietnam. Let's not drop the ball for Iraq and Afghanistan as well. On the last piece there, MVC is, again, we are a state agency, not the Veterans Administration. We rely on funding from the state in order to operate. We have, if you have a constituent that has questions, I would ask you to get a copy or ask us for copies of the Missouri Benefits and Resources Guide. It's something great that you can hand out to a veteran and give them all of the resources that are available in the state of Missouri, not just what MVC does, but all the benefits that are available. Encourage that veteran to reach out to our portal, and encourage them most of all to seek a veteran service officer and apply for the benefits that they've earned through their service. Do it early. A lot of veterans say, well, it takes so long to get into a VSO, and sometimes it does because they're very busy people. So that's why it's encourage them early, before they need it. Because if you wait till you need it, it's too late. So get in there and please encourage them to apply now before they need it. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Myself, any of our staff, Sean Holzhauser, my assistant, would be more than happy to help you help veteran constituents that you have. With that, if there are any questions, I'm more than happy.
Thank you for that overview. That's helpful to me. And are there questions from the committee? Senator Bratton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real quick with the budget shortfall with the commission, have you been in contact, and I'd assume sit-downs with the governor on the potential rollout of his budget to kind of help flush the need out for the Veterans Commission?
We're very fortunate that the governor has been, when he was a lieutenant governor, was very active with veterans in general and with the Veterans Commission. So he's well aware. I've had a personal meeting with his chief of staff as well. We've presented our budget to OA Budget and Planning and explained our needs. They are well aware of the needs. But I'm fully aware it's a big ask. 55 million is a big ask. And so with that, I will tell you that at our next commission meeting, we are prepared to provide options to the commissioners, depending on what comes out from the governor's budget. We have to be fiscally responsible. It means we can't overspend. And we will present options to the commissioners up to and including, if necessary, the closing of a veteran's home or veteran homes. It's not something we want to do, but that is an option that we have to explore.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to say thank you for being here and all the hard work you've done. It's been a pleasure to work with you and your team over the last 4, going on 5 years now, and the passion you have for these types of projects and serving on the commission, and the team that you have around you has just been fantastic with my office and the issues that my constituents have had. So I just really appreciate y'all's hard work.
Sir, it's an honor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just also want to say thank you very much for what you're doing for veterans. And I was discharged about 35 years ago, and this is all new to me. So thank you for this. This is a wonderful presentation, lots of great information. So thank you for what you're doing. And I hope I have the opportunity to work alongside as well and do what I can for veterans.
Thank you for your service.
Absolutely. And Mr. Chair, I want to commend you and thank you, too, for making it very clear that the Marines work under the Department of the Navy. Thank you very much.
I didn't
Mr.
go
Chairman.
quite that far.
We are a department of the Navy, you're right, but we are the men's department. Sorry.
Oh,
I had to.
That
I
was
had
a
to.
touche, Senator Bratton. Well, thank you for your presentation, and I'm sure we'll have additional conversations, and I know I'll have lots of questions of you and the committee members. Thank you all for attending. Without any further business, we're adjourned.